Why
Ariyah
now?
Banj was 20 years old the night her heart stopped on an operating table in
going.
Seoul, and the people who should have loved her most pretended she no longer existed. 30 weeks pregnant, bleeding out, alone. When she finally opened her eyes again, her daughter, barely 1 kilogram, lay under harsh NICU lights, fighting for every breath like the world was already demanding too much from her tiny body. Her father told relatives she had disappeared. Clean, convenient, less embarrassing. Ariyah was left with a stitched body she barely understood. 1,100,000 Korean won scraped together from a life that collapsed overnight, and a silence that felt heavier than pain itself. How does a young woman rise from devastation like that? How does she rebuild when every familiar face has turned away? Her answer didn't start in that hospital room. It began nearly a year before, quietly, unexpectedly, in the most ordinary corner of Seoul. Nearly 1 year earlier, Ariyah lived in a cramped studio in Gyeongju, squeezed between 2 aging buildings where the fan rattled no matter how many times she hit it, and the window refused to fully close. It wasn't glamorous, but it was hers, and she loved the life she was stitching together one small dream at a time. She loved the scent of street food drifting through neon-lit alleys. She loved watching crowds rush toward futures they hadn't earned yet. She loved existing as an Afro-Korean woman, Zimbabwean mother, Korean father, belonging everywhere and nowhere in equal measure. Her scholarship covered art classes at a small restoration academy. Everything else came from wiping tables at a barbecue restaurant where kindness didn't exist but bills certainly did. The restoration studio became her refuge. Old lacquer bowls, cracked boxes, masks with fading paint. Objects abandoned by everyone else ended up under her hands. She loved repairing broken things. She understood them deeply. Most days she moved quietly through life. Her mother sent her warm voice notes from Bulawayo. Her father's side stayed silent, as if erasing her required no effort at all. Still, Ariyah believed she was building something, a future shaped by her own hands, a version of freedom, until the evening he walked in. She didn't hear the door open, only saw a shadow fall across her workspace. She turned, startled, nearly dropping her brush. A man stood there, tall, clean-cut, wearing a charcoal coat that looked sculpted onto him. His eyes were gray, cool, striking with an edge that didn't soften. He apologized for frightening her, though he didn't look like someone who apologized often. When he identified the lacquerware on her desk with effortless precision, she blinked. Very few people could name those pieces at a glance. He introduced himself with 2 quiet words, "Just Min Jae." Something about that answer didn't sit right. Most people offered more. He kept his identity tucked away like a secret. But from that night on, he returned. Sometimes with tea, sometimes with pastries she couldn't afford, always carrying a quiet intensity that filled the room even when he said nothing. In a city that swallowed people whole, having someone choose to see her felt like a miracle. But some miracles arrive wrapped in warnings. 3 weeks into their closeness, she saw the first crack. He stood outside the academy gate, speaking with a man in a black suit who bowed too deeply, apologizing like fear lived in his bones. Minji's jaw tightened. His eyes hardened into something cold and powerful. But when he noticed Ariyah watching, warmth snapped back into place instantly. Too fast to be natural. Her friend Yejin didn't hesitate when she heard about it. "He's hiding something, Ari, and it's not small. But loneliness is louder than warnings. Attention is louder than logic." And Minji's attention drowned everything else. Some evenings, he simply sat beside her, watching her paint gold lines across damaged bowls with a softness that didn't match the steel she glimpsed in him. Other nights, she found him waiting with a warm drink, quiet companionship settling between them like a language they didn't need to translate. One night, she fell asleep at her desk. When she awoke, half dreaming, he was there, sitting close, the studio dim and calm. "You don't rest enough," he murmured. "There's too much to do." "There will always be too much," he said. "You don't have to carry it alone." Loneliness had been her oldest companion. The idea of putting any weight in another person's hands felt suspicious and comforting at the same time. There were soft moments after that, small gestures he never named. A fleck of gold brushed from her cheek. Long silences that didn't feel empty. A warmth she hadn't let herself feel in years. One evening, she finally asked, "Why don't you talk about your family?" His expression shifted subtly, like a door closing behind his eyes. "There are things in my world that are complicated," he said. She didn't know what he meant. She only knew that it planted something uneasy inside her. A seed she tried to ignore. But the world around him began revealing itself without his permission. Sometimes he disappeared for a full day. Sometimes he came back looking like he'd been carrying the weight of storms he refused to name. People bowed too deeply around him. Expensive cars slowed as if waiting for him. Power moved in the air whenever he walked by. One evening, a black sedan stopped outside the academy. A driver stepped out, bowed, and held open the back door. Min-jae refused. "No, I said I'd walk." The driver apologized again, low, fearful. Ariyah's skin prickled. Who was he that grown men bowed like their survival depended on it? He didn't answer when she asked softly, "Who are you really?" He only said he was trying to be different from where he came from. And then the truth fell into her hands without warning. It happened on an ordinary night. Rain-damp coat, quiet steps. He placed his jacket over her chair, and something slipped from the pocket, landing at her feet. A metal access pass, deep navy, carved with a crest she had seen on skyscrapers, corporate forums, charity galas. A symbol of wealth and legacy older than both of them. Seojin Group. Her breath caught. Her pulse thudded in her ears. She turned the pass over. His name was engraved. Seo Min-jae. Not Min-jae. Not just Min-jae. Seo Min-jae, only son of the Seojin Empire. A man born into a dynasty powerful enough to shape the country. A world built on silence, influence, and secrets. Her hands trembled as she held the card. When he walked back into the room, she lifted her eyes slowly. "What is this?" He froze, not with fear, but resignation. As if he had always known this moment would arrive. "I wanted to tell you," he said softly. "But I needed you to see me first. Not the world I was born into. You hid it. I protected you." From what? His silence was answer enough. The days that followed settled into a strange rhythm. He still came to the studio, still brought tea, still stood close. But something unspoken hung in the air, an invisible weight neither of them acknowledged. She tried to understand him, but the mystery began to exhaust her. One evening, she asked quietly, "Is there someone else in your world? Someone I don't know about?" His hesitation split through her chest like a cold blade. "I can't explain that." She didn't ask again. She didn't need to. Some truths reveal themselves through silence alone. On a cold evening, he walked her home. They stood outside her building, wrapped in a silence full of words neither of them dared to speak. He brushed a curl from her cheek, his thumb lingering gently, his voice lowered. "I wish I'd met you in a different life." Her heart tightened. "Why not this one?" He didn't answer. He only held her for a long, fragile moment, as if memorizing something he knew he couldn't keep. That night was the last time her world felt whole. What came next would not arrive gently. It would tear through everything she believed, everything she trusted, everything she thought she understood about him. The storm she sensed in him was already on its way, and soon it would reach her. The shift began slowly, so gradually that Ariyah almost convinced herself she was imagining it. Min-jae still came to the academy, still stood in his quiet corners, still watched her work. But something behind his eyes had dimmed. His messages shortened. His silences lengthened. His smiles no longer reached the place they once lived. Ariyah kept searching for the softness they had shared, but each day her chest tightened with the same question. Had she ever really known the man standing in front of her? And then one morning, everything changed. She was working on a delicate bamboo mask, brushing away thin curls of paint, when a wave of dizziness washed over her. The room blurred for a moment, the floor seeming too far away. She steadied herself, gripping the table, but the heaviness inside her didn't lift. Yejin noticed instantly. "You haven't eaten all day?" she said, pushing a snack into her hand. But food wasn't the problem. Somewhere deep in her stomach, a quiet truth whispered. A truth she had been too afraid to confront. She left the academy early, heart pounding with every step toward a pharmacy tucked between a flower shop and a convenience store. She stood in the aisle far longer than necessary, staring at the small white box in her hand, the weight of it stealing her breath. At home, she could barely open it. Her hands trembled as she set the test on the bathroom counter. She closed her eyes, counting the seconds, willing her heartbeat to slow. But when she looked positive, her breath escaped in a broken sound. Her knees weakened. She slid down the bathroom wall, pressing her palm against her mouth to keep from crying out. She wasn't ready. She wasn't stable. She wasn't loved. And the father belonged to a world where even small mistakes came wrapped in consequences. When the tears finally slowed, she whispered a question she wasn't prepared to answer. "What am I going to do?" There was only one person she wanted to tell. She waited for him outside the academy for hours. Her coat barely fought the cold. Her fingers numbed. She checked her phone every few minutes. Nothing. She finally texted him. "I need to see you. It's important." Minutes stretched into an hour into 2. Still nothing. She walked home under flickering streetlights, hoping she'd wake up to a message. She didn't. The next day she called. He answered on the third ring, voice low. "Ariyah, I can't talk right now. I need to see you," she said. "It's serious." A silence settled between them. Long, heavy, almost painful. "I'm leaving Seoul for a while," he murmured. "I don't know when I'll be back." Her heart dropped. "Are you okay?" "What's happening?" "A lot," he said softly. "Things I can't explain right now." The distance in his voice told her this wasn't temporary. Something had shifted far beyond her reach. "Min-jae, I need to tell you something." He inhaled sharply, and when he spoke, his tone sounded tired. "Ariyah, not today. Please, I can't take on anything else." Her throat tightened. "Please don't do this." He didn't hang up, but he didn't speak again. Eventually, the call ended the way some relationships die, without goodbye, without closure, just the quiet suffocation of distance. She tried calling again. Once, twice. Voicemail. She sent a message. Silence. Another. Still silence. Her world shrank. Every street corner reminded her of him. Every empty night pressed harder against her ribs. She was pregnant, and she was alone. Still she waited. Hope clings long after it stops being kind. A week later she arrived early at the academy, drained and unsteady. Yejin entered moments later and gasped. "You haven't slept." Ariyah didn't deny it. Yejin stepped closer. "Talk to me." Ariyah swallowed. She hadn't told anyone, not even her mother overseas. "I think I'm pregnant," she whispered. The air stilled. Yejin's eyes widened with a mix of shock and worry. "That man, the one with the expensive coat?" A silent nod. "Have you told him?" "He left," Ariyah said softly. "He just left." Yejin pulled her into a hug. "We'll figure this out. You're not alone." But Ariyah felt alone in a way that swallowed her whole. Later that day, after struggling through her work, she tried calling his number again. A woman answered. "Hello." Ariyah froze. "I'm looking for Min-jae." "Who?" the woman asked. "This is a Seojin office line. You have the wrong extension." A cold wave rolled through her. Office line? Wrong extension? She checked the number. It was his. The same one he had used 100 times. Is there anyone named Min-jae there?" "No one by that name," the woman replied gently. The call ended. Ariyah stood motionless, her phone heavy, her breath lodged somewhere between disbelief and heartbreak. He hadn't just left. He had vanished into a world she never belonged to, and he still didn't know the truth growing inside her. That night she stood in front of her bathroom mirror, pale and exhausted, her breath uneven. She placed both hands on her stomach. "You didn't ask for this," she whispered. "And neither did I." She needed support, any kind of stability, but the one person she wanted was gone. So she made a decision she had avoided for years. She would go home. She would face the house she left behind. She walked to the bus stop with a determination that felt borrowed. She didn't know her parents' reaction wouldn't just hurt her. It would break her. Her parents' house sat in an orderly neighborhood where curtains always moved when strangers passed. She hadn't visited in almost a year. When her stepmother opened the door, her gaze slid over Ariyah like an inspection. "You came without calling," she said, surprise with no warmth. Ariyah swallowed. "Is Dad home?" Inside, her father looked up from his documents. His eyes held no welcome. "Ariyah," he said flatly, "I assumed you had moved on." The way he said it made her stomach twist. "I need to talk to you. Make it quick." Her stepmother remained standing, arms crossed, ready to judge. Ariyah inhaled slowly. "I'm pregnant." The room froze. Her father's face shifted only into cold calculation. Her stepmother's lips twitched, not with sympathy, but something cruel. "With who?" she asked. "Or is that unclear too?" Heat rushed to Ariyah's cheeks. "I know who the father is." "Where is he?" her father asked sharply. "He left," she whispered. Her stepmother sighed. "A child with a man who won't even stay. Predictable." Ariyah looked at her father. "I just need support for a little while. I'm not asking for luxury. Just a place to stay until I figure things out." Her father stared at her for a long moment. "No." One word. Sharp. Final. "Dad. You made this decision," he said coldly. "You face its consequences. I didn't make this alone." "Did you tell us before doing it?" he snapped. Her stepmother added, "We can't take on this kind of burden." Ariyah's throat tightened. "I'm your daughter." "Not today," her father said softly. The words cut through her. He stood and returned with a small envelope. Inside were keys she used as a teenager. "I'm taking these back," he said. "This house is no longer your refuge." He opened the door. A dismissal. A verdict. "You need to leave." Ariyah stepped out, numb. The door closed behind her with a painful finality. At the bus stop, her tears finally broke free. The weeks that followed blurred. Her manager reduced her shifts after whispers of unreliability. At the academy, her scholarship was suddenly under review. The same week Minji's mother visited the building. Everything she depended on began to crumble. Job, education, housing. One by one, each piece slipped through her fingers. Her father blocked her calls. Her stepmother blocked her number. Even Yejin couldn't carry more weight. One morning she found a paper taped to her apartment door. A rent increase. Immediate payment required. Eviction threatened. She recognized the landlord's sudden coldness, especially after he met a woman in a black sedan days earlier. Someone was pulling strings. Someone powerful. She pressed her palm to her stomach, whispering, "I will keep you safe. I promise." But promises are heavy when the world is falling apart. Days later, overwhelmed by bills and fear, she fainted at work. The owner panicked, then quietly replaced her. Her body couldn't endure the weight anymore. That night, lying weakly in her small apartment, her breath grew unsteady. Pressure tightened in her stomach. Her vision blurred. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She dialed for help, gasping for air. That call, desperate, shaking, terrified, was the moment that would lead her to the operating table months later. The night her heart stopped. The night this story began. Batch 3. The hallway outside her parents' apartment felt colder than the December wind scraping through Seoul's narrow streets. Ariyah stood there for a long, fragile moment. Bag slipping from her shoulder. Breath trembling. Heart aching in a way she couldn't name. She waited, just in case. Maybe her mother would crack the door open and whisper her name. Maybe her father would realize what he'd done. Maybe someone inside would say, "Come back. We didn't mean it." But nothing happened. The quiet click of the lock behind her sounded like her childhood dissolving. She wiped her tears with the back of her sleeve and forced herself to move. Down the stairwell. out the building, into a world that didn't pause long enough to notice something inside her had shattered. Cars honked. Delivery drivers rushed past with steaming cups of coffee. Vendors shouted morning prices for hotdog and roasted sweet potatoes. No. Her phone buzzed. Her heart jumped. Min-jae? No. Her restaurant manager. Ariyah, we have to let you go. There's been a complaint. We can't have drama in the workplace. She froze. A complaint? From who? About what? She typed a reply, but the message didn't deliver. Blocks. The tiger. She walked for over an hour through familiar streets and unfamiliar ones, until her feet took her to the only place she still believed might be safe. Jai's apartment. Her closest friend. Her chaos partner. The girl who would fight thunder if it annoyed her sleep. Ariyah rang the bell. Jai opened the door in a bonnet, face mask, and oversized shirt. Holding a cup of noodles, she instantly dropped when she saw Ariyah's swollen eyes. Oh my God! Ariyah? What happened? Ariyah fell into her arms, words tumbling out in broken pieces. Her parents, the pregnancy test, being thrown out, losing her job. Min-jae disappeared. The fear, the emptiness. Jai locked the door behind her, guiding her inside. Sit, drink water, eat something. You're shaking. But Ariyah couldn't sit, couldn't eat. She paced the small apartment like someone trying to outrun her own thoughts. Jai watched her carefully. Ariyah? Who is the father? Tell me the truth. Ariyah closed her. If she said the name Seo Min-jae, Jai would instantly understand the power, the danger, the family name. And Jai, with her quick mouth and sharper loyalty, would not stay quiet. She would fight. I can't tell you, she whispered. Jai's eyebrows flew upward. You trusted him enough to get pregnant, but not enough to tell me who he is? It's not like that. Then what is it? Why is he hiding? Why are you hiding him? Before Ariyah could respond, her phone buzzed again. Blocked number. Her dumb. She answered. Ariyah. Her knees nearly gave out. Mice. But his voice didn't sound like the man who once whispered calm into her world. It was low, cold, tense, like someone speaking from the shadows. Where are you? She whispered. I don't know how long I can stay on this line. Min-jae, ever. A heavy silence answered her. Then a shaky exhale. I shouldn't have dragged you into this. Into what? With. His voice lowered, turning to a warning. Don't go home. Don't return to your workplace. And if you see a black car following you, a pause. Her heart pounded. Run. The line cut. Jai stepped closer, voice unsteady. Ariyah, what did he say? He told me. Her breath wavered. He told me to run. Ariyah didn't remember sitting. One moment she was standing in shock, and the next her body folded onto Jai's sofa, legs too weak to hold the fear shaking through her. Her phone lay silent in her trembling hands, the screen black and unforgiving. Run. Run from what? Run from who? Run where? Jai knelt beside her, eyes wide with worry. Bestie, what kind of man tells you to run from cars? What did he get mixed up in? Ariyah couldn't answer. Not because she didn't trust Jai. Jai was the one person who never abandoned her, but because the truth felt too dangerous for even her closest friend to carry. Min-jae's voice echoed through her mind. My family is complicated. She had once thought he meant strict, traditional, cold. But this was a different kind of complication. The kind that stalks you through city streets. The kind that makes a grown man whisper warnings in the dark. Jai stood suddenly. Enough. You're not staying here alone. She grabbed a fluffy blanket and dropped it beside Ariyah. You're sleeping here until we figure this out. I don't know if that's... Yes. Jai pointed at her. You think I'll let you sleep outside? Over my dead body. A small, fragile smile tugged at Ariyah's lips. Jai always loved too loud, too fiercely. But before she could speak, a noise outside sliced through the room. Car engine. Low, slow, idling. Right outside Jai's building. A cold wave shot through Ariyah's spine. She rushed to the window, pulling the curtain back just enough to look. Her breath froze. A black sedan. tinged windows, engine humming quietly, parked directly across from the entrance. Watching, Jai peered over her shoulder. Ari, Seoul has a million black sedans. That can't be the same. But Ariyah already knew. It was the same one. She felt it in her bones. He told you to run, Jai whispered. Ariyah nodded. Okay, Jai said, snatching her keys. Then we run. They slipped into the back stairwell, the one that smelled of rust and wet cardboard. Darkness clung to every corner, but it was safer than the front door. Ariyah kept looking over her shoulder, expecting the sedan to slide into the alley like a shadow with a pulse. They reached the back exit. Jai peeked out first. All clear. Go. Ariyah stepped into the cold night air, only for her phone to vibrate violently in her pocket. Another blocked number. Her stomach twisted. Her fingers hovered over accept. She didn't want to hear more warnings. Didn't want to feel the world closing tighter around her. Didn't want another voice telling her to run. But her thumb pressed anyway. A calm female voice filled her ear. Ariyah Mbanj. Stop running. Ariyah's breath caught. It wasn't Minjae. Not her parents. Not her boss. A woman. Korean. Older. Precise like the edge of a polished blade. Who is this? Ariyah whispered. You know who I am. Her heartbeat thundered. Then the voice said it. I'm Minji's mother. A cold shiver ran through Ariyah's entire body. She had never heard her voice before, but she somehow always knew it would sound like this. Silk over steel. Jai grabbed Ariyah's arm, nails digging through her jacket. What is happening? The woman's voice continued, smooth and unhurried. Come out. I'm in the car behind you. Ariyah turned slowly. The sedan that had been parked in front of the building was now behind them. Lights off. Engine purring. Waiting. Ariyah, the woman said softly. You and I need to discuss the future before it becomes impossible to control. Impossible to control. The words tasted like a warning wrapped in a threat. Ariyah's throat tightened. What do you want from me? Silence. Then a single icy sentence. You are carrying my family's child. You have responsibilities. Jai snatched the phone. Ma'am? Who do you think? The call ended. Ariyah didn't have time to breathe before a car door opened. A tall man in a gray suit stepped out, his face blank, his eyes cold. He lifted his hand and motioned for her to come. Command, not a request. Ariyah stepped back. Jai whispered, voice shaking. Bestie, run. Ariyah ran. Not because she was brave. Not because she had a plan. But because something primal inside her screamed that if she didn't run, she would lose everything. Her freedom, her future, her baby. Her boots pounded against wet pavement. Jai ran beside her, breath sharp in the cold air. Behind them, car doors slammed. Voices shouted. Footsteps followed. Two men. Fast. Focused. Left. Jai yelled. They sprinted into a narrow passageway between apartment blocks, dodging trash bins and delivery crates. Neon lights flickered above, turning puddles into splashes of red and blue. Keep going. Jai pushed her forward. Ariyah's lungs burned. Each breath stabbed. Her hand instinctively cradled her stomach. They burst onto a busy street, bright lights, crowded sidewalks, noise everywhere. People, witnesses, safety, or something close to it. Jai gripped her shoulders. Ari, stay in the light. They won't touch you in the open. Ariyah nodded, though fear drowned out everything else. Her phone buzzed again. She flinched. No, Jai breathed. Don't answer. It's her. But the screen didn't show a blocked number. It showed Minji's name. Ariyah's breath caught. She answered in a heartbeat. Minjae? Where are you? His voice came in ragged whispers like he was running too. Ariyah, you're not safe. My mother isn't supposed to act directly. If she's involved, someone else is forcing her hand. Minjae, they're chasing me. Why didn't you tell me? I tried. A rustling sound. A grunt. She's not the one I'm afraid of. Ariyah's skin crawled. Then who? Silence. Long enough to make her heart stop. Then, my father. Her knees weakened. And he cannot, under any circumstance, know your name or see your face or learn about the baby. Ariyah, promise me. A loud crash exploded through the call. Shouting. Footsteps. The line cut. Ariyah stared at the dead screen. Jai grabbed her arm. Ari, talk to me. Ariyah's voice cracked. He said his father can't find me. Jai blinked. He has a father scarier than his mother? Girl, what? Before Ariyah could answer, a voice spoke behind them. Ariyah Mbanj. They spun. A woman stood there under the bright streetlight. Mid-40s. Dark curls pinned neatly. Brown skin glowing under neon reflections. A hospital lanyard around her neck. Her eyes were warm, but searching. Alert. Like she'd been running too. I've been looking for you, the woman said gently. Jai stepped forward protectively. And you are. The woman raised her hands in peace. My name is Dr. Hannah Seo. Ariyah froze. Seo. As in that family. As in his family. Dr. Hannah's voice softened. I'm Minji's aunt. Ariyah stumbled back as fear surged again. But Dr. Hannah stepped closer, steady and certain. Listen to me. You're not safe tonight. And if you want to survive, both of you. Her eyes dropped briefly to Ariyah's stomach. You need to come with me. Right now. Ariyah trembled. Confused. Pregnant. Exhausted. Terrified. But beneath all of it, a painful truth whispered. She was running out of places to run. Ariyah didn't move at first. She stood frozen in front of Dr. Hannah Seo, a woman who didn't look anything like the shadows she had been running from. There was warmth in her eyes, yes, but behind it lived something sharper. A knowledge of danger Ariyah didn't want to walk toward, but couldn't walk away from either. Jai immediately stepped in front of her, arms spread like a shield. You said you're Minji's aunt. Prove it. Dr. Hannah didn't flinch. She reached into her coat slowly and held out her hospital ID badge. Seoul National University Hospital. Senior Surgeon. Dr. Seo Hannah. The photo was unmistakable. Then she said something Ariyah never expected. I was there the day Minjae was born. He had the same mark you have on your wrist. Ariyah instinctively lifted her hand, revealing the faint crescent-shaped birthmark she'd always been insecure about. Jai's eyes widened. Okay. How would she know that? Dr. Hannah held Ariyah's gaze. It runs in his mother's bloodline. It's genetic. You didn't know that, did you? A cold twist tightened in Ariyah's stomach. No, she didn't. Dr. Hannah's voice softened. Minjae called me the night he disappeared. He asked me to protect you if anything happened. Ariyah's breath caught. He called you? Yes. And when he did, he used a number he only activates in emergencies. That told me everything I needed to know. Emergency, Ariyah whispered. How serious? Dr. Hannah looked down the street before answering. Serious enough that people in his family would rather pretend certain relationships don't exist. Serious enough that your existence, and the baby's, is a threat to their image, their empire, and their legacy. A chill crawled through Ariyah's bones. Legacy. Empire. Words she never imagined herself standing inside. We can't talk here, Dr. Hannah said. Security has already been alerted. We need somewhere safe. Controlled. Jai scoffed. Safe? Controlled? Ma'am, we've been chased since last night. If this is safe, I don't want to see dangerous. Before Dr. Hannah could respond, a car turned the corner. Not fast, not loud, but purposeful. Her entire demeanor changed. Now. We leave now. She reached for Ariyah's wrist. Ariyah didn't pull away. She was too tired, too shaken, too done with running in circles that only led to new nightmares. If Minjae trusted this woman, then she had to try. They moved quickly through narrow side streets until they reached an unmarked building that looked abandoned. Peeling paint, dark windows, a crooked sign half-hanging. Dr. Hannah unlocked a side door with a small silver key. Inside, she said. Ariyah hesitated. This place? Who controls it? I do, Dr. Hannah answered. And no one else knows it exists. Jai looked around the dim interior. Why does it look like the ghosts pay rent here? It's seen ghosts, Dr. Hannah replied calmly. But not ours. Ariyah stepped inside. The door closed behind them with a heavy latch that sounded too final, like the outside world had been sealed away. Sit, Dr. Hannah said gently. You're about to faint. Ariyah sat on the examination chair, legs trembling beneath her. Dr. Hannah reached into a drawer and pulled out a stethoscope. First, I need to check the baby. Ariyah's breath stuttered. You know? Oh yes. Dr. Hannah pressed the stethoscope to her abdomen. And I need you to understand something very important. Her voice dropped to a razor's edge. What's inside you is not just a child. Ariyah blinked, confused. I don't understand. Dr. Hannah met her eyes with a seriousness that made her chest tighten. That baby is the first grandchild of one of the wealthiest, most ruthless families in South Korea. And that makes you Ariyah Banj. She paused for a heartbeat. The most vulnerable woman in Seoul tonight. Ariyah felt something inside her stop. Not metaphorically. She felt her heart pause. Jai whispered, Bestie, what exactly did you get involved in? Ariyah couldn't answer, because she didn't know. Not yet, but she was about to learn. For a moment no one spoke. The clinic hummed quietly, but inside Ariyah everything felt loud. Fear, confusion, questions crashing over one another. Jai broke the silence with a shaky voice. Okay. Ruthless families, hidden clinics, men chasing us. What are these people? Politicians? Gangsters? Royalty? Dr. Hannah gave her a weary look. Royalty would be safer. Jai's mouth fell open. What? Ariyah forced her voice out. What is his family, Dr. Seo? Dr. Hannah sat across from her and folded her hands. Minji's family runs one of the most influential conglomerates in the entire country. Money, infrastructure, politics, media, military logistics. They own enough of it to shape the air Seoul breathes. Ariyah's skin prickled. They own hospitals, universities, shipping lines, real estate, broadcasting networks, even the supply chains that keep the city running. Jai whispered, horrified. So basically, they run Korea. Not officially, Dr. Hannah replied. But when you can control who gets hired, who gets fired, who gets exposed, who gets silenced, titles don't matter. She turned to Ariyah. And the man you were seeing is the heir. Ariyah shook her head rapidly. No, he works at a gallery. He lives in a tiny apartment. He takes the subway. All lies, Dr. Hannah said gently. Curated lies. He wasn't hiding himself from you, Ariyah. He was hiding you from them. Ariyah's breath broke. Memories hit her all at once. How he panicked when unknown numbers called. How he avoided crowded places. How he always left before dawn. How he never let her post pictures. How he always whispered, not here. Jai crossed her arms. So let me get this straight. This heir to a whole empire gets my best friend pregnant, vanishes, and now his dynasty is hunting her down because the baby is... What? A scandal? Dr. Hannah didn't deny it. Ariyah felt the room tilt. Do they want me gone? She whispered. No, Dr. Hannah said softly. They want control. Over you, over the child, over the story. And if I don't give it? Dr. Hannah looked away. Then they will take it. Ariyah felt cold all over. Take what? Her freedom? Her child? Her future? Her voice trembled. What do I do? You survive tonight, Dr. Hannah said. Then we move to a safe location before dawn. Ariyah frowned. Why before dawn? Dr. Hannah's expression shifted into something dark and urgent. Because Minji's father returns to Seoul at sunrise. She paused. And when he lands, this city will no longer stay quiet. Ariyah's mouth went dry. Jai whispered, stunned, Bestie. We're in a whole movie. But Ariyah didn't feel like a main character. She felt like a target. And dawn was getting closer. Ariyah's heartbeat thundered in her ears. Dawn, she whispered. Why does it matter when he returns? Dr. Hannah didn't soften it. Because Chairman Seo does not tolerate loose ends. When he lands, the entire family machinery activates. lawyers, investigators, private security, political allies. Once that happens, you won't be able to take a single step without someone knowing. Jai muttered. So the boss-level villain lands at sunrise. Great. Ariyah gripped the edge of the examination table, knuckles white. What happens to women like me? She asked quietly. The ones who get involved with heirs like Min-jae? Dr. Hannah's silence answered more than any story could. Jai wrapped an arm around Ariyah's shoulders. No, don't even start thinking like that. You're not some stain they can wipe away. You're my family. And that baby is coming whether they approve or not. Ariyah swallowed hard. But how do we outrun them? We don't outrun them, Dr. Hannah said, walking to the window and peeking through the blinds. We outthink them. Ariyah's stomach twisted. How? Hannah moved with sudden purpose, opening drawers, pulling out a secure-looking tablet and a set of car keys. You have something they didn't plan for, she said. What? Ariyah asked. Time. Jai blinked. Time? Sis, time is exactly what we don't have. Hannah shook her head. You have a few hours before the chairman's plane lands. A few hours where they only have assumptions. No photos, no medical records, no confirmed witnesses. Ariyah's eyes widened. They don't know I'm pregnant. They suspect, Hannah corrected. But men like the chairman don't move on suspicion. They move on proof. They won't make a decisive move until they see it with their own eyes. Jai's jaw dropped. So we vanish before they get confirmation? Yes. Ariyah felt dizzy. The room blurred at the edges. Where do we go? Hannah hesitated, and that hesitation scared Ariyah more than anything she'd heard all night. There is a place, Hannah said finally. A medical safe house I helped set up years ago, back when I still believed this family could be redeemed. It's abandoned now. Off the grid. No cameras. No cell signal. No reason for anyone to look there. Jai squinted at her. Why does a surgeon have a secret off-the-grid clinic? You moonlighting as a spy, doc? Hannah ignored the joke. You'll be safe there tonight, she said. And after tonight? Ariyah whispered. After tonight. Hannah's expression darkened. Everything will depend on Min-jae. Silence stretched, heavy and raw. Ariyah stared at her trembling hands. Min-jae, the man who had held her like she was his safe place. The man who whispered futures into her hair. The man who vanished without warning. Jai rolled her eyes. So our survival depends on Mr. Disappearing Act? He didn't disappear because he wanted to, Hannah said softly. He disappeared because he was forced to. Ariyah bit her lip. Then why didn't he call? Why didn't he warn me earlier? He didn't know he needed to, Hannah replied. He didn't know about the pregnancy. The floor seemed to tilt. Ariyah's voice came out thin. He didn't know? No, Hannah said gently. He left before you found out, before you could tell him. And after he left, the balance of power changed, for him and for you. So he has no idea I'm carrying his child, Ariyah whispered. No, Hannah said. But when his father returns, he will. A cold shiver raced down Ariyah's spine. And his father won't let him decide, she said. Hannah nodded once. The chairman decides everything, including whether your existence becomes a scandal or a threat. Ariyah wrapped her arms around herself. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was survival. Jai pulled out her phone. Okay, enough doom. What do we pack? We need to move. No phones, Hannah said. Jai froze. I'm sorry, what? If you carry a phone, they can track you in minutes, Hannah said calmly. Apps, towers, silent pings. That's their world. Ariyah's heart dropped. Jai looked genuinely offended. You're telling me we're going analog? Yes. Hannah handed them each a plain black jacket and a small overnight pack. We leave in 5 minutes. Ariyah nodded slowly. She was terrified, shaking so hard her teeth almost clicked. But she wasn't the same girl she'd been a few hours ago. She wasn't just a heartbroken lover. She wasn't just a rejected daughter. She was someone carrying a life inside her. A life she had to protect, even if it meant stepping straight into uncertainty. Jai squeezed her hand. Bestie, I'm not leaving you. Not now. Not ever. Ariyah squeezed back. Then Hannah turned off the clinic lights. Let's go before the city wakes up, she said. The three of them stepped into the hallway, unaware that the Seo family had already sent someone, and he was closer than they realized. The hallway was narrow and dim, smelling faintly of antiseptic and old paper. Hannah locked her office door behind them and slipped the key into her pocket. Stay close, she whispered. No talking unless you have to. Ariyah clutched her small bag, her palm slick with sweat. Jai walked on her left, one hand hovering near Ariyah's back like she was guarding something fragile and priceless at once. They moved in silence. Every step felt like walking deeper into a maze, with no guarantee there was an exit. They reached the elevator. Hannah pressed the call button. Nothing. She pressed it again. Still nothing. Her jaw tightened. That's not right. Maybe it's just broken? Jai whispered. No, Hannah said. It worked 20 minutes ago. A tiny, crackling fear moved through the air between them. Ariyah could hear her pulse in her ears. The elevator dinged. The doors slid open. Empty. Too empty. Hannah stepped forward carefully, scanning the corners, the ceiling, the floor. It's fine, she said quietly, but her shoulders stayed tense. They stepped inside. The doors closed. For a breath, nothing happened. Then the elevator jerked. Not a long drop, just a violent jolt, like the entire building had been yanked downward. Ariyah slammed into Jai. Jai grabbed the rail, cursing under her breath. The lights flickered. Hannah's hand flew toward the emergency controls. Then everything steadied. The elevator hummed. But it didn't move. No sound. No movement. Just a heavy, mechanical silence. Please tell me this is normal, Jai whispered. Hannah didn't answer. She pressed the emergency call button. No response. Pressed again. Nothing. Ariyah's chest tightened. Dr. Hannah? Did someone do this? I don't know, Hannah said. But if they wanted us trapped, they'd stop us between basements. Not the third floor. So what does that mean? Jai asked. It means someone wants us delayed, Hannah replied. Not caught. A tiny flutter stirred in Ariyah's stomach. Rapid, anxious movement. The baby. Her eyes burned. This wasn't just fear anymore. This was someone tightening invisible hands around her future. Hannah pulled a slim metal tool from her pocket. Backup plan. You pick locks now? Jai blurted. I fix things when clinics can't afford proper repairs, Hannah said. She pried open a small panel and twisted two wires together. The lights flickered again. The elevator hummed. And slowly, reluctantly, it began to move. When the doors finally slid open to the ground floor, Ariyah felt like she could breathe again. Move, Hannah said. They crossed the quiet lobby quickly. Past vending machines, a dark security desk, and a row of potted plants that seemed to be watching. Everything looked normal, which somehow felt wrong. Outside, the air was knife cold. Dawn was still just a gray suggestion on the horizon. Delivery riders zipped past. A bus groaned at the corner. The city was yawning awake. Hannah pointed to a black SUV parked down the block. That's mine. Hurry. They started toward it. Stop, Jai whispered. Ariyah froze. What? Jai nodded toward the opposite sidewalk. A man stood there. Tall. Black suit. Gloves. Expression unreadable. Not walking. Not talking. Just watching. Ariyah's stomach dropped. The same stillness. The same quiet menace. The man lifted his phone. The flash was barely visible in the gray light. But Ariyah felt it like a slap. He'd taken a photo. Jai said under her breath, Don't look at him. Don't show fear. Too late. A second man stepped out from behind a parked car. Then a third. 3 of them. Silent. Controlled. Closing in. Girls, Hannah said quietly. Move. They hurried toward the SUV. The men stepped off the curb. Walking. Not running. Like they already knew there was nowhere to escape. Dr. Hannah. Please, Ariyah gasped. Hannah unlocked the SUV the moment they reached it. Jai helped Ariyah climb into the back as Hannah slid into the driver's seat. The men were closer now. 30 meters. 20. 15. Jai slammed the door shut. Drive! The engine roared to life. The SUV shot forward, throwing Ariyah back against the seat. Her breath flew out of her chest. Jai twisted around to look through the rear window. They're getting into a car, she said, voice rising. They're following us. Ariyah closed her eyes. She felt the baby move again. Small, terrified motions deep inside. She whispered for the first time, out loud, "Please, let us make it." Miles away, at that same moment, another voice spoke her name. Deep, angry, awake. Chairman Seo stepped off his private jet, winter air biting at his face, coat draped over his arm. His security chief handed him a phone. A photo glowed on the screen. A woman, Afro-Korean, eyes wide with fear, one hand pressed unconsciously to her stomach. "Ariyah Banj," the security chief said. "We have visual confirmation." The chairman studied the image, unreadable. His first order was simple. "Bring the girl to me." The SUV cut through early morning Seoul like a single heartbeat in a sleeping city. Streetlights blurred past the windows. Delivery bikes zipped between lanes. The skyline was just beginning to glow. But behind them, danger was awake. Jai twisted around in her seat, forehead pressed to the glass. "They're still on us." Silver sedan. 2 cars back. Ariyah's hands trembled in her lap. Her breath stuttered in tight little bursts. "Hannah," she whispered. "They're getting closer." "No," Hannah said, eyes locked on the road. "Not if we reach the bridge first." Jai blinked. "Why a bridge? Why does everything suddenly depend on a bridge?" "Because," Hannah replied tightly, "the Hanam Bridge has too much traffic and too many exits. They won't risk a public confrontation there. If we reach it, we're not safe, but we won't be trapped." The SUV swerved sharply into a bus lane. Jai clutched the door handle. "Hannah!" "They're accelerating," Hannah muttered. "If I follow normal traffic, they'll box us in." Ariyah risked a glance back. The silver sedan glided closer. Clean, silent, intentional. Her pulse jumped. "They're not stopping," she whispered. "Of course not," Hannah said. "They need to confirm who you are." "Confirm she's pregnant?" Jai scoffed. "She's not a spy. She's a pregnant woman." "In their world," Hannah replied, "there is no difference." The SUV stopped abruptly at a red light. Pedestrians crossed without knowing danger breathed inches away. A mother dragging a sleepy toddler. Students laughing. A man carrying coffee trays. Normal life. And behind them, the sedan idled. Watching. Waiting. Hunting. "They're letting the pedestrians pass," Hannah said quietly. "They want you alive." A cold shock ran through Ariyah. Alive, but not safe. When the light turned green, Hannah hit the gas so hard Jai screamed as they shot forward. The bridge rose ahead of them like a long silver spine over the river. Then Jai gasped. "Hannah, look!" A second car glided into their lane from the right. Black, unmarked, blocking. Hannah jerked the wheel left, but the lane filled instantly with a dark blue sedan. A third car. A slow, quiet cage. "A coordinated formation," Hannah muttered. "They're boxing us in." Ariyah gripped her seatbelt until her fingers ached. "This is my fault," she whispered. "If I hadn't met him, if I hadn't." "No," Hannah said firmly. "Their cruelty existed long before you. You just collided with it." The SUV shot onto the bridge. The Han River shimmered beneath them, cold and indifferent. Then, Hannah froze. A black van sat on the shoulder. Engine off. Facing them. Waiting. A trap. Her voice cracked. "This is bad." Ariyah's chest tightened. "What does that mean?" "It means," Hannah whispered, "they knew we were coming." Jai's voice trembled. "Bestie, this isn't a chase anymore." Ariyah swallowed. "Then what is it?" Jai pointed. "They're closing in." The 3 cars tightened formation. The van's engine came to life. Traffic thinned. Escape vanished. Hannah braked hard. The cage sealed. Ariyah whispered, "What do they want?" This time Hannah answered immediately, "The child." Ariyah's world tilted. Jai choked, "They can't just take her baby." "They can," Hannah said softly. "And they will." Ariyah pressed both arms protectively around her belly. "So they're going to take my baby and erase me." Hannah didn't deny it, because denial would be a lie. The van doors opened. 4 men stepped out. Black suits, earpieces, cold, empty faces. They walked toward the SUV with silent intention. Jai grabbed Ariyah's hand. "I'm not letting you go. I don't care who they are." One of the men tapped the window. Tap, tap, tap. Calm, chilling summons. "Hannah," Ariyah whispered. "Please drive, please." Hannah's voice was steady but impossible. "If I accelerate, they'll ram us. This bridge is the worst place to fight them." "Then what do we do?" Jai cried. Before Hannah could answer, a thunderous horn blasted across the bridge. A massive cargo truck barreled toward them, horn screaming. It slid across lanes, blocking the black sedan from advancing. The formation broke. The men stepped back, startled. A crack in the cage. Chaos rippled through traffic. The truck driver leaned out the window, waving angrily. "Move your car." The men turned, shouting. That split second of disorder was all Hannah needed. "Hold on," she snapped. She slammed the accelerator. The SUV catapulted forward. The van lurched. The sedans scrambled. The men scattered back. And just like that, they were out. Free. For now. Ariyah felt the baby move inside her, small, frightened motions. "Who saved us?" she whispered. Hannah's jaw tightened. Her answer came slow, quiet, weighted. "A person who should not know where you are." Jai stared at her. "Hannah? Who is helping us?" Hannah looked in the mirror. "Ariyah, someone is protecting you from the shadows." She paused. "And there's only one man who would do that without telling me." Ariyah's breath caught. Her voice cracked. "Min Jae?" Hannah didn't answer. She didn't have to. Ariyah felt the world tip sideways the second Hannah spoke the name she wasn't ready to hear. "Min Jae?" she whispered. The SUV sped across the bridge, merging into the morning rush as the sky warmed into a pale gold haze over the Han River. Seoul was waking up, and danger was waking with it. Jai twisted in her seat. "Wait. Are you telling me your missing air boyfriend just hijacked a cargo truck to save us? Who is this man?" "Batman with better cheekbones." Hannah didn't answer. She drove with the controlled urgency of someone who had learned to survive by staying 3 moves ahead of everyone else. "A truck arriving at the exact right second," she said slowly, "means someone predicted the CO men's tactics." Jai frowned. "But how would he know where we were?" "Because Min Jae knows his father," Hannah replied. "He grew up watching these strategies. How they trap people, isolate them, suffocate them into obedience." A cold shake traveled down Ariyah's spine. "Hannah," she whispered. "How would he know I was in danger?" Hannah met her eyes briefly in the mirror. "Because, Ariyah, Min Jae never stopped watching over you." Ariyah felt her breath collapse. "No," she whispered. "No, he left without warning. He wasn't there when I found out. He wasn't there when I lost my job. When my parents threw me out. When everything fell apart, he wasn't anywhere." Her voice cracked. "He left me." Jai squeezed Ariyah's hand. "Bestie, the math never mapped with him. Fine face, billionaire blood, disappearing axe. Something was always off." But Ariyah didn't laugh. She felt like everything inside her was stretched thin. One wrong touch and she'd break. "Hannah," she said again, sharper this time. "Tell me the truth. Is Min Jae following me?" Hannah hesitated. That hesitation was an answer. Painful one. A jagged one. Ariyah whispered, "Then why didn't he come to me? Why didn't he call?" Hannah exhaled. "Because he wasn't allowed to. His father stripped him of communication access. His phones, accounts, vehicles, even GPS chips embedded in family IDs. He was isolated the moment he fled." "Fled," Jai repeated. "Why was he running?" It's better you don't know yet. Ariyah shook her head, tears burning hot. No, no more secrets. Not from you. Hannah gripped the wheel tighter. Min-jae disobeyed his father, refused an arranged marriage, refused corporate grooming, refused becoming the Seo family's next weapon. And when he fell in love with someone outside the dynasty, he walked away. Jai stared. He walked away from billions for freedom? For peace, Hannah said softly. For an identity that wasn't scripted for him before birth. Ariyah's throat tightened. Then why did he leave me? Hannah's voice softened into something deeply human. Because, Ariyah, Min-jae believed that staying with you would destroy your life. The words hit harder than betrayal. It sounded like love in the most painful shape. Jai blinked. So he ghosted her to save her? No, Hannah corrected quietly. He ghosted you to save all three of you, him, you, and the baby he didn't yet know existed. A tear slid down Ariyah's cheek before she could stop it. If he's helping me from the shadows, she whispered, why does it still feel like I'm losing him? Hannah didn't answer. She didn't need to. Jai suddenly stiffened. Look behind us. Hannah checked the mirror. Her curse was soft but sharp. The black sedan. Back again. No, Ariyah whispered. They can't have found us this fast. They did, Jai said. And they look annoyed. They're using trackers, Hannah muttered. Ariyah's breath hitched. On your car. No, Hannah said grimly. On you. Ariyah froze. Me? How would they? A family like the Seos can plant a tracker in anything, Jai said. Clothes, bags, jewelry, something from your parents' house. Hannah nodded. They put it on you long before you even knew you were pregnant, and activated it when they realized you were trying to disappear. A cold wave washed through Ariyah. They've been tracing me. This whole time? Not continuously, Hannah said, but enough to find you each time you tried to slip out of sight. Ariyah swallowed. What do? We destroy it, Hannah said. Today. Now. How? Jai asked. By finding it before they physically intercept us. Hannah flicked her turn signal and exited abruptly. Where are we going? Ariyah whispered. To the one place Chairman Seo cannot legally monitor. Where? A women's refugee shelter. The SUV pulled into a narrow, older neighborhood. Quiet, unpolished, almost forgotten. Exactly the kind of place billionaires never thought to look. Hannah parked behind a modest sky-blue building. Women's Refuge and Support Center. Government Protection Program. Ariyah's breath caught. A shelter. One of the safest places in Seoul, Hannah said. Protected by law. CCTV off-limits. Private security firewalled. Even the Seo family cannot breach this network. Inside, the air was warm and familiar. Scents of lavender, detergent, old books. Walls lined with children's drawings. A tabby cat blinked lazily from the reception desk. A middle-aged woman approached with gentle eyes. Her ID said, Lee Yeonjoo, social worker. Hannah bowed. Uni, we need privacy. Quickly. Yeonju looked at Ariyah, really looked, and her expression softened. Follow me. She led them to a counseling room. Soft couch, warm lamp, tissues waiting in every corner. A room made for breaking and rebuilding. The door closed, and Ariyah finally broke. Her legs buckled. She sank onto the couch, breath shaking, hands trembling, tears rising with no permission. Everything hit her at once. Her family's rejection, Minji's disappearance, running, chasing, threats, the unborn life inside her depending on her strength when she felt completely empty. I'm trying, she whispered to the child she hadn't even seen yet. I'm trying so hard. I just don't know if I'm strong enough. A sob tore out of her. Raw, human, honest. Jai wrapped both arms around her. You are strong enough, and you're not alone. Not anymore. Hannah stepped closer. No mother is ready, she said gently. We just learn to fight harder than anyone expects. Ariyah inhaled shakily and nodded. Then Hannah clapped her hands lightly. shifting back into urgency. All right, we find the tracker. They emptied Ariyah's bag, nothing. Checked her clothes, nothing. Shoes, nothing. Hair clip, nothing. Notebook, clean. Jai groaned. So they didn't bug the bag. So what did they bug? Hannah's eyes sharpened. She approached Ariyah slowly. Ariyah, may I check your arm? Ariyah nodded. Hannah lifted her wrist. Ran fingertips along the underside. Stopped. Silence dropped heavy in the room. Hannah, Ariyah whispered. What is it? Hannah gently turned her palm upward. There, barely visible, a tiny bump beneath her skin. Sesame seed small, perfectly placed, deliberate. Ariyah felt her whole body go cold. What is that? Hannah exhaled sharply. A biometric tracker. Jai nearly screamed. A what? A subdermal device, Hannah said grimly. Implanted without your knowledge. Ariyah's voice shook. When would they have done that? Who would do that to me? Hannah closed her eyes. Your parents. The world stopped. Ariyah couldn't breathe. My parents. They wanted to know who the father was, Hannah said softly. They wanted answers you weren't giving. And someone offered them away. Jai covered her mouth. Oh my God. Ariyah felt something inside her shatter. This betrayal deeper than anything the Seo family had done. Her own family had marked her, tracked her, sold her privacy to strangers. Her knees gave out. Jai caught her again. No, Ari, breathe. Ariyah stared at the tracker beneath her skin like it was poison. We can remove it, Hannah said gently. But it will hurt. And when it stops transmitting. She hesitated. They will know, Ariyah whispered. Hannah nodded. And they will come harder. Jai whispered. Bestie. What do we do now? Ariyah swallowed. Lifted her chin. Not breaking. Becoming sharper. We take it out. Her voice didn't tremble. And we run before anyone realizes I'm finally free. But none of them noticed the security camera outside the counseling room flicker once. Just once. Then stabilize. Someone had breached the shelter's scrambled feed. Someone was watching. And this time it wasn't Min-jae. The counseling room suddenly felt too small. Too bright. Too still. The tiny bump beneath Ariyah's skin pulsed like betrayal with its own heartbeat. She kept staring at it, that faint rise near her wrist bone. But her thoughts were far away. Her parents. Not the Seo family. Not Min-jae. Not strangers in suits. Her parents. The people who had held her as a baby. Walked her to school. Braided her hair. Prayed over her exams. Called her their firstborn blessing. Had implanted a tracker in her body. To monitor her. To control her. To expose her. Tears filled her eyes. But they didn't feel fragile anymore. They felt heavy. Old. Like they had been waiting years for this moment. Jai knelt beside her, voice trembling. Bestie. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve any of this. Ariyah shut her eyes. I don't understand, she whispered. Why would they do that? Why would they? They were afraid, Hannah said quietly. Afraid of scandal. Afraid of the father. Afraid of losing control of the story. That doesn't make it okay, Jai snapped. You don't put a spy chip in your daughter because you're scared. No, Hannah agreed softly. It doesn't. But it shows how desperate they were to protect themselves. Not you. Ariyah wiped her cheeks with shaking hands. Take it out, she said. Please. I don't want it. I don't want anything of theirs on me anymore. Hannah moved closer, her expression shifting into calm, clinical focus. I'll remove it, she said. But the second it disconnects, it will send one final signal. That final ping gives us minutes, not hours, before the CO system flags it as dead. Jai swallowed. So basically we're telling billionaires, hey, we're going off the grid now. Come chase us? Exactly, Hannah said. Ariyah exhaled. Then do it. Hannah turned to social worker Lee Yun-ju, still hovering in the doorway. Worry etched into her face. May I borrow a sterile kit? Without a single question, Yun-ju nodded and slipped out. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was the kind of silence where lives shift direction. Jai rubbed slow circles on Ariyah's back. "You're brave, you know," she murmured. So brave." Ariyah let out a shaky breath. "I don't feel brave," she said. "I just feel tired." "Sometimes bravery is just not collapsing," Jai replied. "You're still here." Yeonju returned with a small medical kit. Hannah rolled up her sleeves. "Ariyah," she said gently. "Give me your arm." Ariyah extended her wrist, heart hammering. Not from fear of the pain, but from the knowledge that once this thing was out of her, nothing would be between her and the Seo family except her own choices. Hannah cleaned the spot with alcohol. "It'll be quick. You'll feel pressure. You don't have to look." Ariyah turned her head away. Jai gripped her hands tightly. There was a sting, pressure, an odd, pulling sensation. No horror, just a moment where a piece of her past was literally lifted out of her. "It's out," Hannah said. Ariyah inhaled, like she'd finally been allowed air for the first time all day. Hannah held up a tiny metal sliver, barely bigger than a grain of rice. A faint light blinked inside it. "This has been tracking you for months," she said. "We can't destroy it in here, but once we get it outside the shelter's scrambling zone." She nodded toward the back door. "The Seos will know it's gone." Jai slapped her palm on the table. "Good. Let them know. We're not running blind anymore." Hannah didn't smile. "Not exactly," she said. "We've bought freedom, but we've also declared war." Ariyah forced herself to stand. Her legs shook, but she stayed upright. "Where do we go next?" she asked. "There's one place they won't expect," Hannah replied. "Somewhere even Chairman Seo can't easily reach." Jai narrowed her eyes. "Where? Please don't say secret bunker or international airport." "A church," Hannah said simply. Both girls blinked. "A church," Jai echoed. "Yes, a multicultural immigrant church. No shared CCTV. No state partnership. No CO board members. People flowing in and out all day. You'll be one face in a crowd." Ariyah nodded slowly. Felt right. Hidden. Quiet. Protected in a way money couldn't touch. "When do we leave?" she asked. Hannah looked down at the tracker still blinking in her palm. "Now." She slipped it into a small metal tin from the supply cabinet. "The moment this tin crosses the edge of the shelter's scrambling field," she said, "their system will log a last location ping near this neighborhood. They'll assume you panicked and fled. They'll spread their search outward." "Which buys us?" Jai asked. "Time," Hannah said. "Not much, but enough to move." Ariyah glanced around the counseling room one last time. The soft couch, the warm lamp, children's drawings, the faint scent of lavender. This wasn't just a shelter. It was the line between who she'd been and who she was about to become. She straightened her shoulders. "Okay," she said quietly. "Let's go. Before they realize I'm not afraid anymore." They walked down the hallway toward the back exit. Hannah pushed open the door to the alley. Cold air rushed in. The alley looked empty. Too empty. A single streetlight flickered once, then steadied. Jai shivered. "Hannah, why does it feel like a horror movie out here?" Hannah didn't answer at first. She stepped forward, scanning the narrow space. The ground, the corners, the roofs. Every instinct switched to alert. Then she motioned to the dirt near the dumpster. "Look!" A footprint. Large. Fresh. Pointing straight toward the shelter door. Jai's breath caught. Someone was here. Hannah nodded. And not long ago. Ariyah's heart slammed against her ribs. Was it the Seo men? "No," Hannah said quietly. "This print belongs to someone heavier." "Heavier than billionaire security?" Jai whispered. "Who is heavier than that?" Hannah stared at the footprint. Then the end of the alley. Then the thin slice of sky above. Her answer was soft, but it chilled all three of them. Chairman Seo's enforcer. The air felt thinner all of a sudden. Ariyah stepped back instinctively, hand flying protectively to her belly. What does that mean?" she whispered. "It means," Hannah said, eyes hard now, "they found you faster than I thought they would." The world outside the shelter felt sharper now. Not louder, just clearer. Like danger had turned up the contrast on everything. Enforcer, Jai muttered. I already don't like him and I haven't even seen his face. Hannah led them down the alley, every step careful and measured. If he were still here, we wouldn't be having this conversation, she said. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't linger. That's not comforting, Jai hissed. They emerged into a side street lined with small restaurants and corner shops. Traffic had picked up. Delivery bikes weaving between cars, kids in uniforms walking in clusters, elders pulling shopping carts. Life didn't care that someone had just put a price on Ariyah's freedom. Stay close, Hannah murmured. We'll move toward the church district. Don't keep checking behind you. Fear is an invitation. Jai whispered. Too late. My soul is already checking behind me. They turned a corner and froze. A black sedan sat at the curb. Not the sleek corporate models from before. Older, less flashy, more purposeful. Leaning against the driver's door was a man. Tall, black coat, gloved hands, posture relaxed, like he had nowhere in particular to be. He wasn't looking at them. He didn't need to. Every inch of him said he knew exactly who was there. Jai's breath caught. Oh my God, that's him, isn't it? Hannah inhaled quietly. Yes. Ariyah's throat went dry. What do we do? She whispered. Keep walking, Hannah replied. Do not stop. Do not flinch. Won't that make it obvious? Stopping makes you pray, Hannah said. Moving makes you expensive. So they walked. One step, then another, closer. Close enough for Ariyah to hear the faint rustle of his coat in the wind. Close enough to see the clean line of his jaw. Close enough to feel the weight of his silence pressing against her ribs. He didn't say a word. He just turned his head a fraction. Not even a full look. Just enough to register her. To confirm. To claim. Ariyah's heartbeat faltered. The moment they passed him, Jai hissed under her breath. Bestie, don't panic. But he looked at you like you already belonged on someone else's schedule. Hannah picked up her pace. We can't lead him directly to the church. We'll loop away and split our tracks. Split? Jai whispered. Ma'am, I don't even want to split from my own shadow right now. Just for a moment, Hannah said. 30 seconds. Then we regroup. At the next busy intersection, they stopped beneath a storefront awning. Ariyah, Hannah said. You walk straight across the crosswalk. Jay, you turn right and blend into the crowd. I'll go left. We meet at the old market entrance. You'll see the red awning. Ariyah nodded, even though her legs felt like they were made of glass. She stepped onto the crosswalk. The world suddenly felt too big. Cars passed. People moved. Voices murmured. But all she felt were eyes. Watching. Measuring. Choosing. She didn't look back. She didn't have to. She could see his reflection in a shop window as she passed. Black coat. Still at the curb. Not chasing. Waiting. For her next move. When she reached the other side of the street, her phone buzzed. A cold dread slid down her spine. Unknown number. She opened the message. Ariyah Banj. Stop running. You know who you belong to. Her blood froze. Attached to the message was a photo. Taken just seconds earlier. She was in it. Standing in the middle of the crosswalk. Hand on her belly. Face tense. Alone. No Jai. No Hannah. Just her. Exposed. Claimed. This wasn't Minjae. This wasn't protection. This was possession. Another message arrived. We will collect you soon. Her fingers shook. Before she could even process it, her phone buzzed again. A call. Same unknown number. She answered with a breath she didn't remember taking. Hello. The voice on the other end was deep, calm, unhurried, heavy with a lifetime of getting what it wanted. Ariyah, the man said. She didn't need an introduction. Chairman Seo. Turn yourself in, he said. It will be easier for everyone. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She closed her eyes, feeling her hand press more firmly over her stomach. I'm not yours, she whispered. Silence. long, cold, sharpening the air. Then he said very softly, "You have 1 hour." The line went dead. Ariyah stood on the sidewalk, phone still in her hand. Chairman Seo's words wrapped around her like invisible wire. "You have 1 hour." Jai wasn't beside her. Hannah wasn't beside her. People flowed around her like water around a rock. Moving, laughing, hurrying. Completely unaware that someone had just put a countdown on her life. 1 hour, 60 minutes, 3,600 seconds. A deadline she never agreed to. A claim she refused to accept. Her fingers tightened around her phone until her knuckles turned white. "I'm not yours," she whispered again. This time her voice didn't shake. She turned away from the crosswalk and walked toward the old market district where they were supposed to regroup. Her heart pounded. Adrenaline burned through her veins. But her face stayed calm, neutral, unreadable. If he was watching her through some camera, some lens, some shadow, he would see nothing. At the market entrance, Jai appeared first, half running, half falling toward her. "Bestie! Oh my God! Why did you walk off like that?" "I was about to climb a building with my bare hands." Ariyah forced a small smile and grabbed her arm. "I'm here. I'm okay." "Where's Hannah?" "Here," Hannah said, stepping out from behind a stack of fruit crates. "Did anyone follow you?" Ariyah swallowed. "No, but he called." Both women went still. "Called?" Jai repeated. Ariyah nodded. "He said I have 1 hour." Jai's whole face twisted. 1 hour for what? To do skincare? To journal? To just hand myself over like a borrowed umbrella? Who does this man think he is? Hannah didn't answer. Her silence pressed heavier than shouting. "Hannah," Ariyah whispered, "what does 1 hour actually mean?" "It means," Hannah said quietly, "his search teams are already moving. The clock isn't about time. It's about pressure." "So they're coming today," Jai said. Hannah nodded. "Yes." Ariyah took a steadying breath. "Then we leave. Now." "Which direction?" Jai grabbed her bag. "Point me. I've got sneakers on and trauma in my bones." "We can't run blindly," Hannah said. "If they're mapping traffic and public cameras, random movement helps them more than us. We need intention, not panic." "Then what do we do?" Ariyah asked. Hannah glanced at the busy market. People bargaining, kids trailing behind parents, old women examining vegetables like jewels. "They won't cause a scene here," she said. "Not if they can help it. Public mess threatens their image." "So we're hiding behind the garlic stall?" Jai muttered. "Not hiding," Hannah replied. "Deciding." "You said there was a church," Ariyah said. "Why don't we go now?" "Because Chairman Seo isn't stupid," Hannah answered. "He'll predict 3 possible destinations: hospitals, embassies, or religious centers. If we run straight to any of those, we're walking into his net." "Embassy?" Jai blinked. "Bestie, you want to apply for asylum while pregnant? The paperwork alone would kill us." Ariyah exhaled slowly. "Then where?" Hannah looked at her with a steady, almost reluctant gaze. "To someone who can outmaneuver the Seos." "No one outpowers them," Ariyah said. "I didn't say outpower," Hannah replied. "I said outmaneuver." Jai's eyes narrowed. "Dangerous how? The helpful kind of dangerous, or the we might not make it kind of dangerous?" Hannah didn't respond, which was an answer. "Who is it?" Ariyah asked. Hannah dropped her voice. "My older brother." Jai choked. "You have a brother? Since when?" "Since birth," Hannah said dryly. "We went separate ways a long time ago." "What does he do?" Ariyah asked. Hannah hesitated, searching for the smallest version of the truth. "He solves problems the legal system refuses to notice." Jai stared. "So like a vigilante? Ghost hacker? Off-grid private investigator? Underground barista/fixer?" A faint ghost of a smile tugged at Hannah's lips. "Something between all of those." Ariyah's eyes widened. "Can he protect us?" "No," Hannah said honestly. "But he can hide us long enough to plan." "Plan what?" Jai asked. "A counterstrike," Hannah said. Not with violence. With leverage. Something small and hot sparked inside Ariyah's chest. So we're fighting back, she whispered. Hannah nodded. Yes, quietly. Does Chairman CO know about him? Jai asked. No, Hannah said. He has no digital footprint, no public record, no social accounts. He doesn't exist in their world. And you trust him with your life? Ariyah asked. Yes. And mine. Yes. And mine, Jai said. Hannah sighed. Jai, you talk too much. In the middle of a billionaire death countdown, you choose rudeness, Jai muttered. Okay. Ariyah actually smiled, small, unexpected. Real. What's his name? She asked. Hajun, Hannah said. Where is he? Close enough. As if summoned by the words, a motorcycle rolled to a stop at the edge of the market. Black, quiet, unmarked. The rider wore a matte helmet and a dark jacket. He didn't speak. He didn't remove the helmet. He simply lifted 2 fingers. A signal. A greeting. A warning. Hannah exhaled. That's him. Jai squinted. Oh, he definitely looks like someone who lives in shadows. In a good way. I'm terrified and impressed. Can we trust him? Ariyah whispered. With everything, Hannah answered. Hajun turned his helmet slightly, just enough to acknowledge Ariyah's presence. Then he motioned toward a narrow alley. Follow. Jai's voice dipped into a whisper. Okay, bestie. Welcome to our vigilante era. Ariyah's phone buzzed again. A new message. 56 minutes remain. A chill slid up her spine. The countdown had begun. And Chairman CO was not bluffing. Hajun didn't waste words when they reached him. He didn't shout, didn't rush, didn't panic. He simply existed in a way that made the air feel more serious around him. Hannah stepped up first. Appa, she said quietly, dipping her head. He lifted 2 fingers again in acknowledgement. Then his helmet turned toward Ariyah. Not kindly, not cruelly, just precise. Like he was reading her without needing her to speak. Jai leaned in toward Ariyah. Why do I feel like he already knows my blood type and worst secrets? Because he probably does, Ariyah murmured. Hajun gestured down the alley. They followed. They slipped past crates, stacked boxes, and the back doors of small restaurants preparing for lunch. Hajun moved like someone who belonged in passages no one else noticed. Were you raised by spies? Jai whispered. No, Hannah replied softly. We raised ourselves. They reached a battered metal door at the end of the alley. Rust flaked from the hinges. A cat slept against the frame. Hajun knocked 3 times in a rhythm that sounded random but wasn't. Inside, bolts shifted. The door opened into a narrow stairwell leading down. Jai stared. Oh no. Basements and men who move silently? This is how documentaries start. Jai, Hannah said warningly. They descended. At the bottom was a second door, reinforced steel, keypad, fingerprint scanner. Hajun pressed his thumb against the pad. The lock clicked. The door swung inward. A hidden safe house. 1 room but solid. A worn leather couch. A compact kitchenette. A heavy table with an old lamp. Thick curtains blocking every window. No visible router. No blinking electronics. Analog. Invisible. Unmapped. A place the internet and by extension the CO empire couldn't touch. Ariyah stepped inside, feeling the atmosphere shift. Her shoulders dropped a fraction. Her breathing slowed. Is this yours? She asked. One of his, Hannah said. How many his hideouts we talking about? Jai muttered. Hajun ignored her. He took off his helmet. Sharp lines. Calm. Flat gaze. A faint scar through his brow. He set the helmet on the table and spoke for the first time. You're late. Complications, Hannah replied. He didn't ask. He didn't need details. Tracker, he said. Removed, Hannah answered. Search teams. Mobilized. His attention shifted fully to Ariyah. It wasn't a soft look. But it wasn't cruel. He was measuring her. Fear, resolve, exhaustion, anger. Like data points he could use. A part of her wanted to shrink back. She didn't. She lifted her chin instead. Hajun gave the smallest nod. A silent, almost invisible approval. Sit, he said. Not a bark. Not a demand. Just efficiency. Ariyah sat on the couch. Hannah and Jai flanked her without being asked. Hajun leaned against the table. Tell me everything, he said. So she did. The black cars. The bridge. The van. The truck. The shelter. The enforcer. The call. When she finished, Hajun glanced at an old clock on the wall. 50 minutes now, he said. Jai groaned. Bestie. My edges are receding from stress. Jai, Hannah murmured. They won't hit this area first, Hajun said. Too many clinics. Too many shelters. Too many people the media cares about. So we're safe? Ariyah asked. No, he replied. You're never safe from a man with that much reach. But you are temporarily invisible. It wasn't comfort, but it was something. What happens now? Ariyah asked. Hajun looked at her for a long moment, like he was deciding whether she was ready for the next part. Then he asked, Do you want to run? Or fight? The air seemed to tighten. Jai stopped fidgeting. Hannah stilled completely. Ariyah swallowed. She could run. Disappear into some rural town. Change her name. Raise her child hiding from shadows. Or she could fight. Fight, she whispered. Hajun's gaze sharpened. You're sure? She nodded. Yes. Something shifted in his eyes. Not warmth. Respect. Then you need the one thing you've never had from them, he said. Truth. He went to the table, pulled open a drawer, and took out a sealed folder. Thick, heavy, covered in handwritten notes. He placed it in front of her. Ariyah stared. What is this? She whispered. The reason Min Jae disappeared, Hajun said. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were copies of internal documents, anonymized reports, photos of tall buildings and secured gates, corporate memos stamped with the CO emblem. The first page was a reproduced memo header. CO Group Internal. Subject, Air Disobedience, Immediate Containment. Ariyah's chest tightened. What does this mean? It means, Hajun said, that Min Jae didn't leave you. Her heart stopped. He was taken. The room went silent. Utterly, completely silent. Jai's hand flew to her mouth. Hannah closed her eyes. Ariyah's voice came out thin. Taken? Hajun nodded. He refused the marriage his father arranged. He refused to cut you off. He refused to sign certain documents that would make him the perfect obedient heir. So they contained him. Contained, she repeated. You mean, locked away? In a private rehabilitation facility the CO family uses when fear fails, Hajun said. Away from phones. Away from friends. Away from you. Tears filled her eyes, but they weren't the same tears as before. These burned. And he still tried to protect me, she whispered. He never stopped, Hajun said. He used what little access he had to pull strings for you. The truck on the bridge. That wasn't an accident. That was one of the few favors he had left. Ariyah's phone vibrated. She looked down. A new text. 45 minutes. This time her fingers didn't shake. She lifted her head. Her voice was quiet but firm. They think I'm powerless. They think I'm alone. They think I belong to them. She wiped her face, inhaled, and straightened her shoulders. I don't. Hajun nodded slowly. Ariyah barely slept that night. Hajun had given her the guest room in the safe house. A small, plain space with gray walls, a folded futon, and a single window looking out over Seoul's dark skyline. It wasn't beautiful, but it was solid. Still, quiet enough that her body finally loosened for the first time in days. But peace doesn't come easily to someone who's been hunted. She sat on the futon with the blanket wrapped around her shoulders, listening to the hum of the old heater and the distant rush of traffic. Her thoughts looped in slow, painful circles. Minji's strained voice telling her to run, the enforcer's stillness on the street, Chairman Seo's cold warning, the tracker buried in her skin, the baby turning inside her as if feeling every spike of fear, and the folder. The folder Ha-jun still hadn't let her open. A folder full of truths she wasn't sure she could survive. Footsteps approached, steady and unhurried. A gentle knock followed. Ariyah. Ha-jun's voice, calm, anchored. Are you awake? She hesitated. Yes. The door slid open. He stepped in with a tray, ginger tea steaming in a cup, a bowl of rice porridge sending up soft warmth. You barely ate today, he said quietly. A small, broken laugh slipped out. I barely breathe these days. He set the tray down and knelt beside her, not crowding her, just close enough to feel like gravity. You've gone through more in 2 days than most people face in a lifetime, he said, and you're carrying 2 people through it. You don't have to pretend you're okay. She didn't. I don't know how to survive all of this, she whispered. You won't survive it, Ha-jun said. You'll outlive it. The words went through her like a spark. No pity, no sugar, just something solid to lean on. He nudged the tray toward her. Eat. I'll show you the file afterwards. Her pulse jumped. The file? You deserve to know what you're fighting, he said. She forced herself to eat, spoon by spoon. The porridge tasted warm and plain, but with each mouthful she felt a little more present, a little less like she was floating outside her own body. When she finished, Ha-jun took the bowl away, then reached for a locked drawer. He pulled out the folder. Thick, heavy, bound with a single metal clasp. This, he said, placing it in her hands, is everything Min-jae tried to keep away from you. Her fingers trembled as she held it. She wasn't ready, but running had not saved her. Open it, Ha-jun murmured. She did. The first page was a photograph. Not of her, not of Min-jae, but of a boardroom. 12 men in suits, faces hard and expressionless. A logo on the wall behind them, SEO Global Holdings. She turned the page. More photos, documents, internal memos, terms, clauses, inheritance schedules, marriage contracts, heir obligations. Every line carved Minji's life into metal. They own him, she whispered. In every way, Ha-jun said. His marriage was arranged when he was 17. His father expects him to marry a partner's daughter, someone who brings billions in alliances. A sick weight settled in her stomach. So when I came into his life, you weren't supposed to exist, Ha-jun finished. She shut her eyes. Of course she had felt it from the beginning. The way he tensed when unknown cars slowed near them, the way he avoided photos, the way he watched shadows like they were traps. She thought it was trauma. It was obligation. Did he ever love me? She asked, voice barely there. Ha-jun didn't answer right away. He let the question sit between them. I watched Min-jae grow up in that house, he said at last. I watched him bend until he almost broke. But you, his gaze rose to hers. You were the first thing he ever chose. Something hot and painful spread through her chest. Chosen. She turned another page and froze. Her own face stared back at her. A photo of her leaving the restaurant, laughing with Jai, completely unaware of the camera. Another, her boarding a bus. Another, unlocking her apartment door. Another, her hand resting unconsciously on her stomach. They'd been watching her. Always. Her skin crawled. Why do they have this? She whispered. As soon as Chairman Seo learned Min-jae was seeing someone, he ordered surveillance, Ha-jun said. Even before I got pregnant? Yes. A strangled sound escaped her, half laugh, half sob. So I was never safe. No, Ha-jun said simply. And the tracker wasn't the beginning, she whispered. No. Tears slid down her cheeks. Not soft this time. Sharp. Angry. What else is in here? She asked. Ha-jun hesitated. Proof, he said, that they already prepared a legal petition to take custody of your baby. The world tilted. They what? He flipped to another section. Neat copies of documents. Official seals. Signatures. Preliminary petition for full guardianship. Unborn child. They plan, Ha-jun said quietly, to argue that you are unstable, financially unfit, and incapable of providing appropriate care. Once the baby is born, they will try to remove her from you. Permanently. Her heart slammed against her ribs. They want to steal my child. They want to erase you, he said. Completely. Silence fell over the room. Not empty silence. Silence where something inside her shifted. She closed the folder slowly and exhaled, long and steady, like someone stepping into a fight they knew they could not avoid. They are not taking my baby, she said. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Hajun watched her, almost respectfully. Then we fight, he said. How? She asked. He slipped a small silver USB drive from his coat and set it in her palm. This, he said, is the beginning. It looked harmless, tiny, cold, ordinary. But the weight of it felt like a fuse. What's on it? She asked. The only thing Chairman Seo fears more than a scandal, Hajun said. The truth. The air felt charged. Ariyah closed her fingers around the drive. Her heartbeat wasn't wild anymore. It was steady, focused. The girl who kept running was fading. Something sharper was taking her place. The first contraction didn't arrive with pain. It arrived with dread. A strange tightness low in her abdomen. A pulling sensation that made her pause in the hallway on her way to the kitchen. She steadied herself with one hand on the wall and took a careful breath. Braxton Hicks, she told herself. Practice contractions. Normal. Nothing to panic about. The second one stole that comfort. It hit like a wire tightening across her middle. Sudden and merciless. Air punched out of her body. The mug in her hand slipped and shattered on the floor. In the living room, Hajun stood up at once. Ariyah. She tried to inhale. Her hand flew to her belly, fingers shaking. Something is wrong. When the tightness finally eased, she bent over, one hand on her knees, sweat already forming along her hairline. I don't feel right, she whispered. How far apart? He asked, already moving toward her. The pains? I don't know, she gasped. And another wave crashed through her, shorter but sharper. It hurts. He didn't hesitate. He grabbed his keys with one hand, her arm with the other. We're going to the hospital. She shook her head hard. No, it's not safe. They'll find me. Chairman Seo. Ariyah. His tone cut gently through her panic. If we don't go, you and the baby are at risk. They can't take anything from you if you don't make it there first. The hallway tilted. Her baby. Her promise. Okay, she whispered, tears burning hot. Okay, let's go. They made it 3 steps before she jolted, grabbing the shoe cabinet for balance. Her vision blurred. A strange pressure rolled through her. Then, warm fluid rushed down her legs onto the floor. Hajun froze. Ariyah, was that? She nodded, eyes wide. My water. It broke. That was all he needed. He helped her to the car, movements fast but careful. Soul blurred past in streaks of light and shadow. Every contraction felt bigger than the last, pulling noise out of her throat even when she tried to stay quiet. She clutched the seatbelt until her fingers hurt. It's too early, she cried. Hajun, it's too early. She's not ready. You are both fighting, he said, jaw tight, eyes on the road. So we fight with you. Another contraction tore through her and she doubled over, biting back a scream. I'm scared, she choked out. So am I, he admitted. Somehow that honesty steadied her. They pulled into the emergency bay. Cold air slapped her skin when he lifted her out of the car. She's in preterm labor, Hajun called. Her water broke. Contractions every 2 to 3 minutes. The nurses swarmed them with a stretcher, voices calm but urgent. We've got you, one said, hand on her shoulder. You're safe here. Ariyah grabbed for Hajun's sleeve. Don't leave, she whispered. I'm not going anywhere, he said. Bright lights, rushing feet, the beeping of machines. How far along? A doctor asked, leaning over her as they wheeled her in. 30 weeks, she managed. His expression tightened. We'll do everything we can. Just keep breathing. Monitors. For lines. A cold gel on her stomach. The steady, fast thump of a tiny heart filled the room. Fetal heart rate is unstable. Call obstetrics. Her lungs burned. Fear pressed at her throat. Another contraction hit and she screamed into her arm. Hajun's hand found hers. "Look at me, Ariyah." She forced her eyes open. "You're not alone," he said. "Not today." A different doctor appeared at her side, eyes sharp and serious. "We need to talk," he said. "You're bleeding internally, and the baby is in distress. We have to deliver now." Her mind went blank. "Now?" she choked. "But she's so small. If we don't act," he said, "you may both die." The words sliced through every other sound in the room. "I don't want to die," she whispered, tears spilling sideways into her hair. "You're not dying," Hajun said fiercely. "Not tonight." The doctor leaned closer. "Ariyah, we need your consent for an emergency C-section." Her whole body shook. She wasn't ready to be a mother like this. But ready or not, the choice had arrived. "Save my baby," she whispered. "Do whatever you have to. Just save her." "Prep for emergency C-section," the doctor called. The world became motion, doors, lights, hands. The ceiling slid above her like a moving strip of white. As the anesthesia began to pull her under, one thought pressed against the darkness. "Minjae, if you ever loved me, help our daughter live." Light came back to her first. Cold, bright hospital light, then sound. A steady beeping somewhere beside her. Soft footsteps, low voices she couldn't quite catch. Then feeling, a deep, dragging ache across her abdomen. Lead in her limbs, an aching emptiness where fear used to sit. Ariyah blinked slowly. A ceiling swam into focus. Curtain, the faint hum of a machine. "Ariyah, can you hear me?" She turned her head toward the voice. Hannah stood at her bedside in scrubs, hair tied back, face lined with exhaustion but eyes steady and warm. Ariyah tried to speak. Only air came out. Hannah wrapped gentle fingers around her hand. "You're okay. You're safe. Breathe slowly. Safe." The word loosened something inside her chest. Just a little until memory slammed back in. The contractions. The rush through the hospital. The word hemorrhaging. The doctor's voice. Emergency C-section. Her own. "Save my baby." Her breath hitched. "The baby?" Her voice broke. "My baby, is she?" Hannah nodded once, swallowing hard. "She's alive, Ariyah. She came too soon. But she's fighting." Tears slid straight down into Ariyah's hair. "Alive." A sound escaped her, half sob, half shaky laugh. "Where is she?" "I need to see her." "You will," Hannah said. "She's in the NICU. She's very small and she needs help breathing right now, but the team is good. We're monitoring everything." "How small?" Ariyah whispered. "As small as a baby born 2 months early," Hannah answered gently. "Her weight is low, but not the lowest I've seen." And she responded when they supported her breathing. Ariyah looked down at herself. 4 in her arm, wires taped to her skin. A thick band across her stomach where they'd opened her to pull her daughter into the world. "Is she alone?" The word scraped out of her. "No," Hannah said immediately. "A nurse is always with her." She wasn't alone after birth either. Who was with her? "Hajun," Hannah said. "He stayed outside the NICU until they made him leave. You wouldn't know it from his face. But he cares more than he lets on." Ariyah's throat tightened. Everything hurt. Her body, her chest, her eyes. But nothing hurt more than the distance between her and her baby. "When can I see her?" "Soon," Hannah said. "They just want you a little stronger first. You lost some blood. Your pressure dipped, but it's climbing again." "Okay," Ariyah breathed. Hannah's voice softened. "You did so well, Ariyah. You saved her." That broke the last of her restraint. Tears spilled freely. "I was so scared," she whispered. "I thought she would die. I thought I would die." "But you didn't," Hannah said, brushing hair from her face. "And she didn't. Hold on to that." Hours later, a nurse wheeled her down the corridor. Hannah walked on one side, Hajun on the other like silent bodyguards. Every beep they passed made her chest tighten. Every flicker of fluorescent light felt too sharp. Every tiny cry from somewhere down the hall sounded like it could be hers. They turned a corner and the NICU came into view. Glass, blue-tinted light, rows of tiny incubators like fragile worlds of their own. Nurses moving between them with practiced, careful hands. The nurse pushed her through the doors, helped her sanitize, then guided her toward one of the clear boxes. "There she is," Hannah murmured. Ariyah stopped breathing. Her daughter lay inside the incubator, smaller than any baby she'd ever seen, swallowed by a tiny knitted hat and a blanket that looked too big for her. Her skin was delicate and thin, a soft flush over bones. A narrow tube at her nose helped her breathe. Wires traced from her chest to a monitor beside her, keeping count of every beat. Ariyah covered her mouth as tears blurred the world. "That's her?" she managed. "Yes," the nurse said softly. "She's a fighter." Ariyah leaned as close as she could, eyes locked on the tiny rise and fall of her chest. "Hi," she whispered, voice shaking. "Hi, sweetheart." One of the baby's fingers twitched. It was barely a movement, but it felt like the earth shifting. "She can hear you," the nurse said. Ariyah pressed her palm gently to the side of the incubator. "You came early," she whispered. "You scared me so much, but you're here. You're here, my love." Tears slid down, spotting the plastic. Hannah rested a steady hand on her shoulder. A few feet back, Hajun watched silently, jaw clenched, eyes fixed on the tiny girl as if committing her to memory. "You're strong," Ariyah kept whispering. "You're brave. And Mama's not going anywhere. I promise you." The little chest rose again, fell again, rose again. Alive. Fighting. Hers. A name rose to the surface, one she'd carried quietly in her heart. "Eun-mi," she breathed. "Her name is Eun-mi." Hannah smiled. "Beautiful, Grace. Beautiful one." "She deserves that," Ariyah said, voice full and breaking all at once. For a moment, everything else faded. She wasn't being hunted. She wasn't a scandal. She wasn't a legal problem to be solved. She was a mother looking at her child for the first time. That moment ended when a shadow broke across the doorway. A man in a suit stepped into the NICU, clipboard in hand, hospital badge clipped to his jacket. His gaze swept the room like it belonged to him, then settled on her. Hannah's shoulders tightened. Hajun's fingers slid toward the inside of his coat. "Are you Ariyah Banj?" the man asked. Her stomach twisted. "Yes." He held up a folder. "I'm here on behalf of CO Global Holdings," he said. "Under a medical guardianship inquiry." The floor seemed to drop away beneath her. Not now. Not here. Not when her daughter had just been pulled back from the edge. "We need to discuss the custody of your child," he said. The NICU air turned sharp. Ariyah kept one hand flat against the incubator wall, as if her touch could anchor her daughter here, with her on this side of the glass. The man in the suit looked like he belonged in a boardroom, not a ward full of premature babies. Late 50s, hair precisely combed, expression politely blank. His badge read, Kim Daeshik, Special Legal Liaison, CO Global Holdings. Hannah placed herself between him and Ariyah, voice firm. "You can't do this here. This is a sterile environment." "I'm not here for a debate," he said, tone smooth. "I'm delivering documentation." Hajun stepped in closer, gaze icy. "Who allowed you onto this floor?" "Chairman CO," the man replied lightly. "Hospital administration cooperated." Of course they had. "What do you want?" Ariyah asked, throat tight. He turned his full attention on her. "Miss Banj," he said, "based on your unstable housing history, lack of sustainable income, and the medical complications during childbirth, we believe it is in the child's best interest to be placed in the care of her paternal family." Each phrase landed like a blow. "This is my child," she whispered. "And we are offering you an opportunity to cooperate voluntarily," he continued. "It will prevent further escalation." He opened the folder. Papers weighted inside, edges perfectly aligned. He uncapped a pen and held it out toward her. "Sign here. Voluntary custody transfer." It acknowledges that you recognize the Seo family's superior ability to provide care. I'm not signing, Ariyah said. Miss Mbanj. No. Her voice cracked on the word, but it didn't falter. Hajun stepped fully between them now. You should leave. You have no authority. I have enough, Hajun said quietly. To make a call that will end your clearance to this hospital. For good. Is that a threat? It's a promise. A doctor hurried over, catching the tension. Sir, the doctor said to the lawyer, you can't be doing this here. Take it outside or leave. Kim Daeshik closed the folder with a soft snap. This conversation is not over, he said. His gaze cut back to Ariyah. Chairman Seo is prepared to file for emergency custody. He has already secured the necessary signatures from the paternal side. Her heart stumbled. He is not her father, she whispered. Min Jae is. And his signature, the man replied smoothly, is already included. Everything inside her froze. Min Jae? Signed? Signed away her rights? Their daughter? No, he wouldn't. He couldn't. Her vision blurred. Will return within 24 hours, the man said. I advise you to reconsider. You have no allies in this matter. Your cooperation will prevent further turmoil. He gave Hannah and the doctor a shallow bow and walked away. The doors hissed shut behind him. The NICU sounds crept back in slowly. The beeping, the footsteps, the soft murmur of nurses, but they felt far away. He signed, Ariyah whispered. Min Jae signed. We don't know that, Hajun said. He said. Lies are part of their playbook, Hannah said, moving to her side. Don't believe anything that comes from their mouth without proof. But what if he did? Ariyah choked out. What if he chose them? Her knees gave way. Hannah caught her before she hit the floor. Breathe, Hannah murmured. Don't let them crush you here. Not in front of your daughter. Ariyah pulled herself back to the incubator, pressing her forehead lightly to the plastic. Me, she whispered. They want to take you. They think they can take you. The tiny chest kept rising, falling, rising again. A heat she didn't recognize spread through her. Not the burn of panic, but something harder, hotter. Hannah's hand settled on her shoulder. We'll fight them, Hannah said. Ariyah slowly lifted her head. Tears still streaked her face, but something in her eyes had changed. The fear was still there, but it floated above something fiercer. I will fight them, she said, voice rough but unshakable. She looked at her daughter, so small and fragile and impossibly brave behind the glass. No one, Ariyah whispered, is taking my child. He signed it. Hannah insisted Ariyah go back to her room, but rest was a lie. Her body throbbed from surgery. Her chest felt like someone had tied something tight around it. And over everything, that man's words kept circling like vultures. His signature is already included. Minji's signature. On the paper they were using to steal her child. Hajun paced the length of the room like a caged storm while Hannah adjusted the foreline. Ariyah stared at the wall, eyes raw, voice thin. Tell me the truth, she whispered. Do you believe him? Do you think Min Jae signed that document? Silence. Hannah's hands stilled. Hajun stopped pacing. The silence hurt more than any answer. Say it, Ariyah pushed, barely louder than a breath. Don't protect me. I want the truth. Hajun inhaled slowly. I've seen Chairman Seo force signatures before. He'll threaten careers, money, even someone's medical treatment for a relative. He's absolutely capable of pushing Min Jae into a corner. Hannah added quietly. And if they claimed you were at risk, or that your pregnancy was unstable, Min Jae might have believed signing something temporary would protect the baby. So you're saying he might have signed? Ariyah's throat tightened. Thinking it was helping us. Possibly, Hannah said. Or, Ariyah whispered. He signed because they ordered him to. This time, neither of them spoke. That silence was worse than any confession. She had known Min Jae was trapped. She had known his life was built like a cage. But some stubborn part of her had believed he would still fight, no matter what, for her. For their baby. Her vision blurred. She turned her face into the pillow, not to hide the tears, but just to survive them. Hannah touched her shoulder. Ariyah, you are not alone in this. And you are not powerless. A knock interrupted them. Firm, quiet, urgent. Hajun's whole body went alert. Who is it? The voice on the other side was low and shaky. It's me. Ariyah's blood ran cold. Minjae. Her heart slammed once hard, then forgot how to beat properly. Hannah and Hajun traded a look. Hannah opened the door only a fraction. Minjae stood there. He didn't look like the polished heir she'd met. He looked wrecked. His jacket was wrinkled, shirt damp, jaw bruised. His eyes were wild, as if he'd been running for days in a nightmare that wouldn't end. Move, he rasped. I need to see her. Hannah blocked the doorway. She just had surgery. You need to be calm. Calm? His laugh was hollow. Do I look calm? Hajun stepped forward. Minjae. Minjae fisted his hand in Hajun's collar and yanked him closer. Did you know? He hissed. Did you know they were coming for my daughter? Did you know they used my signature? Did you? Hannah shoved them apart with more strength than she looked like she had. Enough. Minjae staggered back, dragging a trembling hand down his face. Then he saw Ariyah. Everything in him broke. Ariyah. His voice splintered. I'm so sorry. She swallowed, tears already burning. Did you sign it? He froze. His chest rose sharply and stalled there. Ariyah, did you sign it? The room held its breath. His eyes shone with something torn and guilty. His jaw clenched. For a long, painful moment he said nothing. Then, hoarse and ruined, yes. Something cracked inside her so loudly she felt it in her bones. You signed away my baby, she whispered. Our baby. No, he shook his head, desperate. No, listen. They said your pregnancy was unstable. They told me if something happened when they couldn't reach me, doctors needed authority to intervene. They said it was a medical authorization. They lied. They always lie. You believed them, she said, more statement than question. I'm trapped, Ariyah. I've been trapped since I was a child. They used everything. My inheritance, my future, my mother's health. My baby, she cut in, voice shaking. They used my baby. His face crumpled. I fought it, he said. I tried to reverse it. I tried to get to you before they did. I tried. But you didn't tell me, she said, tears spilling. You left me alone with something this big. You let them get this close to my child without warning me. He stumbled forward, dropping to his knees beside her bed. I thought I could fix it before you had to know, he choked. If I could just hold them off long enough, if I could keep you safe. Safe. A bitter, broken sound escaped her. I almost died, Minjae. His breath caught. Ariyah, please. I didn't choose them. I chose you. Every time. And they punished me for it. For how long? She asked quietly. Since I refused their engagement plans, he whispered. Since I told them I loved you. Since I told them about the baby. Her heart twisted. He had told them. He hadn't hidden her. He hadn't hidden their child. He had tried standing with her, and been crushed for it. But the damage was still there, sitting at the foot of her bed like a second ghost. I almost died, she repeated softly. And today, they tried to take Unmi from me. Do you understand what your signature put in motion? He bowed his head until his forehead touched the mattress. I know, he whispered, and I will do anything to undo it. A tear fell to the floor between them. Ariyah looked at him. This man she loved and hated and needed and feared, all at once. I love you, she thought, but love wasn't enough now. Not by itself. You are either with me, she whispered out loud, or you are with them. There is no middle anymore. Min-jae lifted his head. For the first time, she saw something new behind his eyes. Not just guilt. Not just fear. Fury. Direction. Choice. I choose you, he said, voice steadying. I always have. And if my father wants a war. He rose to his feet. He's going to get one. The air in the room changed. Ariyah didn't melt. She didn't rush into his arms like a drama ending. She watched him, weighing his words against the weight of all that had happened. Words aren't enough anymore, she said quietly. I know, he answered. Do you know what it feels like? She went on. To wake up unsure if your child is alive or dead? He closed his eyes. To have a stranger stand over you and tell you your baby would be better off without you? His jaw clenched. To realize the people destroying your life are not outsiders, but the family of the man you loved? His eyes filled, but he didn't look away. And then, she whispered, to hear that man sign the paper they're using to try to erase you? The monitor beside her bed kept its calm rhythm while everything else broke. They manipulated me, he said. That's not an excuse, just the truth. They sealed me off, spun lies, shoved documents in front of me when I had no leverage. But I swear on everything I have left, I will undo it. She studied him. He wasn't innocent, but he also wasn't the enemy. Not if he chose not to be. Hannah watched near the foot of the bed, eyes bright but calm. Hajun lingered at the side, arms folded tight, gaze sharp and unreadable. Then prove it, Ariyah said. I will, Min-jae said immediately. I'll challenge the custody petition. I'll expose the forged language and the way they tricked me. I'll stand in front of any judge they find and say I was coerced. I'll tear apart every lever my father uses to control me. He stepped closer, stopping just short of touching her. I lost you once, he whispered. I won't lose you and our daughter. Ariyah glanced down at her own hands. The hands that had held on through the contractions. The hands that had pressed against the NICU incubator. The hands that had shaken from terror and were now finally steadying. Slowly, she lifted her gaze back to him. I'm not fighting for you, she said. I'm fighting for her. I know, he replied. And if you truly want to stand with me, understand this clearly. Her voice deepened, each word like a weight settling into place. I am not the girl who loved you quietly in a stolen corner of your life anymore. Her eyes hardened. I am the mother of your daughter, and I will not be bullied, erased, or intimidated by anyone. Not your father, not his lawyers, not his empire. Hajun straightened, something like respect flashing across his face. Hannah let out a slow breath that sounded a little like pride. Ariyah wasn't fragile anymore. What happens now? Min-jae asked, more careful this time. Now, she said, lifting her chin. I protect my daughter. By any means necessary. Her voice didn't waver. I don't care about their money. I don't care who they own. If they come for Eunmi. Her gaze burned with a new, dangerous calm. I will show them exactly what a woman becomes when she has nothing left to lose. The words hung between them like a verdict. I'm with you, Min-jae said quietly. In whatever way you'll let me be. She didn't reach for him. She just gave a single, sharp nod. Then prepare yourself, she said. Because if Chairman Seo wants a war, he just chose the wrong mother. Night settled over the hospital, quiet and still. Ariyah lay against her pillows, tired but no longer crushed under the weight she had been carrying. She had her daughter. She had her strength back. And Min-jae, shaken, guilty, but choosing her, had finally stepped out of the shadow of his family. For a moment, she allowed her eyes to close. Hannah lowered the lights before leaving the room. Hajun stayed in the hallway, watching the elevators with the kind of focus that didn't need words. Everything around them felt calm. But calm never meant safe. In the NICU, a man with a visitor badge walked between incubators holding a clipboard. His movements matched hospital staff perfectly, but he didn't belong there. He stopped at Eunmi's incubator. Her tiny chest rose and fell under the soft blue light, each breath delicate. He checked the hallway. Then he lifted his phone and took several photos, quick, practiced, precise. Eunmi's face, her ID band, her oxygen tube. He slipped the phone away and left without a sound. In Ariyah's room, a knock came. Min-jae entered slowly, shoulders tense, breathing uneven. "They're not stopping," he said quietly. "You know that." Ariyah nodded. "I know." He looked at her, at everything she'd endured, and his voice softened. "You weren't supposed to make it through all this." "But I did," she said. "And Eunmi?" His voice wavered. "She will too." Min-jae swallowed hard. "I'm bringing everything I have. Every name, every secret, every file they buried. I'll tear down every lie they used to trap us." Ariyah met his eyes. "You're doing it because she deserves a father who fights. Not because I need saving." He nodded once, accepting that truth. A quiet moment settled between them. Not peaceful, but honest. Then a scream tore through the hallway. Hannah's voice carried down the corridor. "Stop! Hey, stop right there!" Ariyah bolted upright. Min-jae spun toward the door. Hajun's voice followed, sharp with anger. "Security! 4th floor!" Ariyah pushed herself out of bed, pain cutting into her stitches, but she forced her legs to move. "Eunmi," she whispered. Min-jae sprinted ahead. Ariyah dragged her 4-pole behind her, refusing to stay still. When she reached the hallway, Hannah was running toward the NICU. Hajun had already chased someone around the far corner. "Hannah!" Ariyah gasped. "What happened?" Hannah grabbed her shoulders. "There was a man in the NICU. He was taking photos." A cold shock spread through Ariyah. "What?" "He took photos of Eunmi," Hannah said, breath shaking. Ariyah nearly collapsed, and Hannah steadied her. Min-jae returned, furious and breathless. He escaped. He knew exactly where to go. He wasn't random. Hajun joined them, jaw clenched. He was sent by someone who understands the blind spots in this hospital. Ariyah's voice tightened. "Chairman Seo." Min-jae didn't deny it. "My father wouldn't send someone unless he was preparing something big." Ariyah felt the room tilt. "So he wants evidence?" "No," Hajun said quietly. "He wants a narrative." Hannah looked sick. "He wants to twist this. Use the photos. Build a story that destroys you before the custody hearing." Ariyah felt heat rise in her chest. Her exhaustion, her fear, her pain. All of it sharpened into something focused. "They want to paint me as unfit," she whispered. "As unstable. As a danger." Min-jae nodded grimly. "A public scandal. They'll spread whatever they need to." Ariyah gripped the 4-pole. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear anymore. She lifted her head. "They think this makes me weak." Hajun watched her, expression steady. "They don't understand you," he said. She looked toward the NICU, toward the daughter who had fought for every breath. "He thinks taking a photo means he can take my child," she said. Min-jae waited, breath held. "But he hasn't met the woman I became tonight." Her voice settled into something calm and final. "He started this war." She looked straight ahead, eyes steady. "But I'll be the one to finish it."